Psalm 14. The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. The Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek God. They are all gone aside. They are all together become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge, who eat up my people as they eat bread, and call not upon the Lord? There were they in great fear, for God is in the generation of the righteous. Ye have shamed the counsel of the poor, because the Lord is his refuge. Oh, that the salvation of Israel will come out of Zion. When the Lord bringeth back the captivity of his people, Jacob shall rejoice, and Israel shall be glad.
My particular church have not discussed about the mark of the beast.
I think you can worship Jesus Christ whilst at the same time having a mark in your arm, yes.
If I had to have one to participate within the community, well, for the well-being of my family, I might be forced to, yeah. For the well-being of my family, I might be forced to, yeah.
They're trying to bring in the RF chips as a form of control to all of us human beings. If you don't do as you're told, if you don't conform to the authority, you don't conform to controls, you will have your chip turned off and you will not have anything. And if they turn that off, you can't go into shops, you won't be able to get into the doors, all electronically.
It would be extraordinarily difficult of a large business to take some kind of a microchip and dump that on a market and expect to be able to bamboozle consumers into buying it. The world just doesn't work like that anymore.
My friends, that is exactly what has happened. People want this thing now. It hasn't been dumped on the market. It has been slowly and incrementally and strategically planned. Ever so casually, it has been put into the system, put into commercials, put into life, put into banking. It's there. It's creeping in and has crept in. And it is not because they have bamboozled people. People desire to get this done. Their plan is working.
To think something so small can connect you to everything that matters.
When your life and all you love
are on the line.
When every second counts in the emergency room. Providing immediate access to your medical records.
Because Bob has trouble remembering all his medications.
Because I'm in love with my kids' kids.
Because now I'm looking out for both of us.
Because I have diabetes, but it doesn't have me.
Because I spend my life in the ER trying to save yours.
We're going to put that in chip.
Stockbroker Roble Johnson is one of the pioneers. Today he's having a chip implanted in his arm.
Okay. Now you're going to feel a little pressure. Okay.
If ever he becomes an emergency patient, he can be instantly identified.
How did that feel?
Fine, that's fine.
Okay, great.
Doctors think it will soon be as commonplace as vaccinations.
You're chipped. They'll get you play that number today.
Excuse me, sir. Forgot your receipt.
Checkout lines. Who needs them?
Have a nice day.
This is the future of e-business.
Five people in Puerto Rico diagnosed with Alzheimer's have now had microchips implanted into their forearms to help doctors treat them in case of an emergency. The microchip, which cost about $200, was voluntarily implanted and is used to keep track of the person's medical condition and as a means to contact their caretakers should they wander off or need assistance. Florida-based Verichip Corporation has already implanted more than 2,500 people with these chips, which are approved by the federal government.
Instead of GPS bracelets, convicts would be forced to have a device implanted.
Instead of ankle bracelets, sex offenders might have something like this implanted.
Parents are putting these chips in kids in Mexico, where there's a higher risk of kidnappings. The scanners are put up at airports and bus stations, so if a chipped child is there, police know.
Hey, I'm Kinga Phillips, and this is Google Current. Searches were up for Baja Beach Club this week, a nightclub in Barcelona. Now, the place looks like a good time, but people all over the world don't start searching for a nightclub unless it's doing something freaky. And it is. The club began injecting ID chips into its VIP guests 2 years ago. The right-sized chips allow VIPs to skip the whole velvet rope routine, get into the swanky VIP areas, and charge drinks automatically. Sort of like starting a tab in your arm. This week, a U.S. company called CityWatcher.com adopted the same technology and implanted chips into a few employees, eliminating the need for company IDs or access cards. But some folks are worried that CityWatcher has bigger plans for the chips. That's because the company makes its money setting up camera systems for cities trying to keep an eye on crime-ridden areas. An obvious next step for a surveillance company would be virtual tracking, which has some people freaked out. People like Catherine Albrecht, founder and director of Caspian, Consumers Against Supermarket Privacy Invasion and Numbering. That's the group that took on Walmart a little while back when they first switched to radio frequency chips to track packages. Albrecht published the book Spy Chips, started a website of the same name, and even put out this eye-catching t-shirt. Needless to say, she's not too stoked on the possibility of our government or other private agencies spying on us through our consumer products or chips embedded in our skin.
The latest technology for identifying people at the point of sale, for identifying people when they make purchases, is actually the implantable chip that you can actually embed directly into human flesh. It's a tiny glass capsule about the size of a grain of rice. It contains an RFID computer chip.
I think that within 20 years when you get born you will get a chip.
I feel very strongly that I would say no. But when it comes to you can't travel, or maybe you can't get a job, or you can't get social services, I think that was pretty disturbing, because that's the point at which most people are going to, even if they wanted to say no, might feel forced to say yes.
Are there any conditions under which I would allow myself to be microchipped? I don't think so. So basically what you're saying is either you're in this monetary system with the microchip monetized system, or you're outside of that system, and you're asking me is what would I choose? You know, that's a difficult question because we all like creature comforts, you know, we all like to have a house. My biggest theory is that it's not ever going to be implemented.
You're talking about with that company that put it in your hand, and you know, might get to that point where you need to have that or you can't buy anything, and I think it's very, very scary. I would hope that this company that it wouldn't get pushed to the point you were talking about. But
if it was an essential to life, which again I hope it would never be, I would put it in my body. But I would hope it never would come to that point.
There's a thin edge of a wedge as a way of social control and monitoring. I think that's very, very dangerous.
Do you take the very chip?
No way, no. Well, if I had to have one to participate within the community, well, for the well-being of my family, I might be forced to, yeah.
When I read the book with Barry Smith, it brought up for me the significance of the Antichrist and controlling of people. That's what it brought up. Second, yeah, the Antichrist. You know, you see these fictional movies and you see their implants and it controls you.
Okay, with the Verichip, I would not take it on. I think if it got to the point where if you didn't have a Verichip in you, then you couldn't work, you couldn't earn money, you couldn't pay rent, I guess then there's not much choice but to conform and to go with it. But I don't see that would happen anytime soon, I don't think anyway.
I'm a Church of England. My particular church have not discussed about the mark of the beast. The Church of England, I think they're more very politically...
I'm Assistant Minister of Grace Church, Dulwich. Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with buying or selling or using money in this way. I personally don't have a problem with this idea of having a microchip put in your arm as a sort of, I don't know, credit card that you can buy and sell in clubs or go down to Sainsbury's and buy your food. No, I would not have a problem with that as a Christian. I think you can worship Jesus Christ whilst at the same time having a mark in your arm, yes. I think you can worship Jesus Christ whilst at the same time having a mark in your arm, yes.
And it calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond,
to receive a mark in their right hand or their foreheads.
And that no man might buy or sell save he that he had the mark or the name of the beast or number of his name.
It's just a book, isn't it? I haven't got a lot of time for the Bible. To me, that's just words. Doesn't really mean anything, you know.
The Bible clearly lets us understand that the mark will be for trading, for buying, for selling. The choice will be, are we willing and ready to die for what we believe in? And if it means to die and to not accept the mark, then that is what will have to be done.
It seems to me that some people would think it just makes sense to have a chip rather than be something to do with the Bible.
Sure. Can you see any link at all? With
well,
passage
obviously, but I think it's a major coincidence.
I don't think it's possible that someone 2,000 years ago could have prophesied about any scientific developments today. I don't think God has any place in science.
What?
I don't think God has any place in science.
What?
Did you hear this young man? He said God has no place in science. Don't he know anatomy? Your body is one science project.
So what it's trying to say is that if you have that in your body, that you maybe showing the mark of the. It's not. I don't really believe in coincidence so much. I just disagree. My personal opinion, I just don't think that has any relation to what the financial system is. Why they would. Why would they put it into barcodes? The number, how that number has any relevance? If they did, it could be coincidental. But if there was some, I don't know, allegiance within the secret allegiance of the financial system around the world who are doing whatever, maybe it is, I don't know. But I know that we are being tracked and we are being traced and our information is being sold and it is being passed. But whether this has any relation to that, I don't think so, my personal belief.
There's no way I'd want to put the chip into my body if it's been said before that it's going to be part of some beast or whatever else it's going to be. So I wouldn't want to do it.
I would totally see where this would tie into the whole Revelations Antichrist thing.
But I could see definitely how people would think that a microchip could be construed as a mark of the beast.
If it comes down to that, the chip is the mark of the beast, and because of my Christian faith, I will never wear it.
The Christian faith and several other faiths have intertwined into it a mark of the beast concept, which is generally seen these days and accepted as the microchip. It's going to have a massive effect on people consciously and in their communities. There's going to be a rejection on that level alone. If I was to be cut off, I still wouldn't take the chip. I would find a community, no matter how hard it took.
Hey, you know what I think about that one? If you read the Bible, dude, it says you cannot buy, sell, or trade without the mark of the beast. It's so easy. It's convenient. It's right there. Beep. Oh, everything's right there. Beep. And I will never ever put a chip in me or in any of my children.
I know a lot about the mark of the beast prophecy, and I don't know a lot about this chip thing, but from what you've told me just then, they seem pretty similar. No, I'd never take a chip. I'd never microchip myself.
I will never be chipped voluntarily. They'll have to hold me down. They'll have to knock me out. Not taking the microchip could end up meaning that you would starve to death. I understand that.
I'm not Christian myself, and I'm not that knowledgeable about Revelations, but I know that when they talk of a mark of the beast, it's for buying and selling, and everyone in society must bear this mark to operate and function. But there needs to be some resistance to this agenda. On a practical level, if it does end up that most people have got the microchip and there is a few resistors still out there, I think they will be hunted down. They'll be targeted for elimination. I think I would refuse the Verichip under all circumstances, even if there was the threat of imprisonment, the threat of death.
People from all religions know that something's wrong in these times. This is the most serious chess game that's ever been played. This game is so cunning, it is so deceptive. You can't say that this is of human origin. It is that in depth. It's the decisions that you make, and whether you succumb to the system and just say, look, the pain and the misery that I'm feeling, I'll succumb to, taking the Verichip, and so I can access food. Whereas for me, I'd rather starve and eat rocks before I took it. I think that is where the soul is lost. It's as simple as that. It is a choice of serve the mainframe or mammon or whatever you want to call it. But there is obviously a definitive line.
I don't know. I think that's very negative. I don't like to think that these things are negative. I wouldn't want to read that paragraph then think that's a negative thing. Just to take that leap from reading a warning sign to actually taking it to factual facts that it's happening is a massive leap of... I don't know. For me, I think that's a massive bit. I can see it as a warning, and there's loads of sections which, this is what we experience in this time and whatever, and take heed of this. But I don't think it's that translatable to now, I don't think, for me.
The scanner powers up. Wave it over the arm, pulls up the unique 16-digit identification number, and through a serial port that's at the bottom of the scanner, it goes to a computer or a laptop, where immediately my picture, my driver's license information, and my relevant medical records would pop up on the screen.
It would be extraordinarily difficult of a large business to take some kind of a microchip and dump that on a market and expect to be able to bamboozle consumers into buying it. The world just doesn't work like that anymore.
Lawmakers at the State House are taking steps to solve a potential futuristic problem. State Rep Neil Kirk is bringing forward a bill that would ban required or coercive microchipping of humans. Kirk says his concerns stem from a handful of companies that have tried to microchip employees. Under his bill, a theoretical employee who is fired for refusing to be microchipped would be entitled to half their salary for as long as they are unemployed.
Chance to be chipped under the skin of their hands.
Consumers
be cashless shoppers. A microchip holding personal bank account and credit card information will be implanted into the body.
A daily battle is being waged in supermarkets all over this country. A battle for the customer's dollar.
It also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. That number is 666.
Would you like to know more?
And forget fumbling for change at the vending machine. For some workers in Wisconsin, all they'd have to do is place their hand in front of a scanner to buy stuff. In a move that sounds like it was ripped from the Terminator films, 3 Square Market wants to surgically implant microchips in its employees so they can buy snacks in the break room, open doors, or let them log onto a computer. Let's just hope it doesn't go haywire. But let's be clear, it's not mandatory. The company says about 50 people volunteered for the implant, which is about the size of a grain of rice. They also say they're the first in the US to put microchips in their employees, but the technology has been used in Sweden since 2014, according to UPI. It uses the same kind of technology that allows your phone to make mobile payments. The company's CEO says the information is encrypted and secure. Critics say someone could theoretically get data about you though. Your health, how many hours you're actually working, or if you're taking too many bathroom breaks. Basically, critics want to know who would be seeing that information. But I want to know what happens when you quit. I guess leaving it on your boss's desk is as good as any resignation letter.
When is Bill Gates's serpent tongue going to come out of his mouth, and when will his horns and tail appear? This man is building Lucifer's Antichrist system. Bill Gates wants to track every human who's been vaccinated with a coronavirus vaccine. And he wants to put a microchip in the vaccine, a nano-sized microchip. It calls it a quantum dot tattoo. This guy's an enemy of the human race. He's an enemy of Almighty God. Bill Gates is turning out to be one very evil man. I mean, personally, I'd like to tell Bill Gates where he can stick his syringe. I'm fed up with this stuff. I would like to help put that syringe there. This guy's a wacko. I mean, look, it's one thing to say you believe in vaccines and you want to help, get as many people vaccinated against horrible diseases. Okay, I can buy Bill Gates' position like that. But let me tell you, when you start talking about putting a nano-sized microchip in it, buddy, you're my enemy. And I'll stick that syringe so far up your rectum, you'll never get it out. You'll cough it out. Listen, this is what they're doing to us. This is what they plan to do to us right now. Every Christian needs to be alert right now. These people know what they're doing. Their father is the devil. They work for Lucifer. They know who they're working for. They know what they're building. I'm going to tell Mr. Gates right now, you're going to have to kill me. You're never going to get me to take your vaccine or your quantum dot whatever. You'll have to kill me because I'll fight you with everything I got. I'm not going to give in to Bill Gates or any of these other freaks. This is it. You should start messing with my life and my soul. This is it.
My name is Johan Östlund. I'm the founder and CEO of Biohacks International, and we create software platform and these awesome implants that go into your body for ultra convenience and security. So the biggest reason to get one of these right now is mostly novelty. So access for house, access in office, printing access, and really streamlined and seamless interaction with your connected surroundings. So the Pokemon app, or the kind of Pokemon thing for implants is definitely payment, mobility, and identification. So with those three, we overlap the entire fintech industry, medtech industry, access management, and ID. So just imagine being able to move globally in completely seamless and paperless, cardless, friction-free. I guess when that's in place, that's going to be killer. So features that are definitely coming are not only payment and global EID license accredited to the implant, but health journal, some medical journals that you can move medical data in real time on blockchain. You can share preferences, you can own your data, sell your data, and sovereign identity in principle. Owning all of the data that you create kind of gives the citizen pay. So imagine having a phone just creating value that you can sell over our platform. If someone would steal it, it would always be a useless piece of junk for anyone else, because you need to know the additional verification models. You need to know exactly what systems, when and why and how. So the way we kind of keep value from being on the chip itself is we have a decentralized network, which makes this kind of the key to pull it back. And additional to the key, you need another layer of verification. And you can alter security depending on what type of verification or authorization you're doing. Next steps and expansion is UK, Italy, Japan, and Poland, Germany. Hopefully, we got major traction in Norway. And I mean, Switzerland is as fast as possible, I guess. As soon as we get enough interest in someone that actually commits to go ahead and roll out with us, I'm here.
I started looking into RFID and this type of technology that he used to open his door to the laboratory and to his office. And it didn't take long until we found actually implantable technology that we could use. So having my history in the piercing community, I've performed some 30,000 piercings and body modifications. Safety always comes first. So having that safety, this has given a profound sense of security for the community, since we always do things in the exact same way. Anyway, this technology is, like you saw, it's everyday technology that you'd use with your phone. You get on the train, you get on the bus, you bleep in the cash register to pay for your stuff. And all of that we can incorporate into this tiny microchip. And the big difference here is you're not going to drop it, are you? So doing this research, I got to know that I could do it on everyone. I would do it on myself anyway, for sure. Had my Johnny Mnemonic moment. I felt like Johnny Mnemonic. It was amazing. I programmed my implant with a call trigger that as soon as I tapped my phone to the chip, it'd call my wife. Now that's bonus points. That's kind of when I realized that this was what the world's been missing all along, or at least I've been missing it, because we're filled up and packed with gadgets, doodads, wearables, and knickknacks, but they just take you that far, don't they? I mean, this was something else. Basically, it gave me the opportunity to open up this entirely new discipline with my vast experience in body modification and this childhood passion, which merged and positioned itself in between the high-tech world and the business world. And that's always been off limits for me. I mean, look at me. Doesn't look like I have a PhD or work at MIT and produce implants for smart implant technology. But with that,
having been brought up in the Pearson community and always wanting to share this, since if you do this in an open source community, it will develop faster. It will become better. It will become available for anyone instead of gating it and keeping it to those MIT and PhD dudes. With this community, which has grown pretty rapidly over the last years, we have managed to change logistics in even some of the biggest companies in Sweden. Swedish railways are now allowing biohacks implants as a ticket carrier. And that was in 3 months. That's huge. And that's the impact we can have on society changing by just doing new stuff. This, though, is biohacking. So what is this? The word hacking, I mean, are you familiar with the news platform Lifehacker? It's awesome platform. And there it is again, hacking. Hacker, hacking. You usually think about a hooded dude hacking your account, cyber criminals, but when you take a gadget and use it for something else and mix it with another thing to make a completely different thing, that's a hack, right? And that's what we're doing here, hacking. We're just stripping away the word hacking from that cyberdyne hacker. And that's in every category. You got mainstream, and we got the extreme. These guys, Tim Cannon and Sean Sarver from Grindhouse Wetware, are pioneering the design and implementation of larger implants. They're grinders. And these are just for funs and giggles. They're LEDs that light up. 5 LEDs light up if you put a magnet on them, which is 80s disco ultra deluxe. However, imagine changing those lights into LEDs instead. Not LEDs, sorry, but sensors. So you get 5 different sensors on there instead, turning that into an interpreter for your body. Neil Harbison created his own sense. He can't see color at all. So he created this, and this lets him hear color by vibration. So he can walk out the door and hear a symphony of color. That's also using biohack. Or my personal hero, Elon Musk, with the Neuralink Corp, which will enable you to upload and download thoughts. And probably in the future, connect us with supercomputers protecting us from artificial intelligence. So the list just gets longer. Anyone that wants it can use it, develop it, make it better, and keep it growing. Because if you don't keep it easy to get, amazing to have, and easy to get rid of, I think you're doing it wrong. The potential for this is amazing. I mean, 5 sensors are just making a seamless everyday interaction with our digital hyper-connected world. I could stand here for days. So I'm not stopping there though, because just teaching my body how to speak machine just isn't enough. I really want my body to be able to speak to me. Tell me what's up. Hey, drink, buddy. Get on the band. You gotta go biking. Stop smoking, whatever. Or warn me, like, yeah, if you keep doing this, it's going downhill. So together with the phone, which basically is a part of us already, we got a perfect match. Got everything we need. Impossible dreams has come true since the pyramids, right? And ours will too. But today, things are moving a lot faster. Because this is the digital renaissance. And this is the art.